Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar on building social emotional learning classroom communities with Sanford Harmony. My name is Rachel Escobedo and I am the online ambassador for Sanford Harmony. Today you will learn some amazing strategies and takeaways to start using in your classroom tomorrow. If you take a look at the GoToWebinar menu on the right side of your screen, you should see a handout section where you can easily click and download a resource on supportive language and call and response signals. If you don't see that box shown on the right side, it may be that you need to click on the little red arrow to open up your box. These are great resources to use with your Sanford Harmony program and to create a fun and interactive classroom environment. Our speaker today is Margaret Johnson. She is our product specialist and comes to us with over 10 years of experience as a classroom teacher, staff developer, principal, and Harmony specialist. But before I hand over the presentation to her, I want to announce that we have a giveaway at the end for a $25 Amazon gift card. So you must be present until the very end in order to have a chance to win.
Thank you for the introduction. It's great to be sharing this webinar with all of you today. I'm excited that you're implementing Harmony and value your commitment to social emotional learning and building healthy classroom learning communities. Let's get started. As we begin, let's take a poll to find out what are the greatest community building challenges you've encountered with students in your classroom in the past month. Please share your response to this polling question. What is the greatest challenge you have encountered in your learning community in the past month? The poll is now open. Let's take about 30 seconds to share your greatest challenge. Okay, we're going to close the poll and let's take a look at the results. We're seeing that some of your students aren't participating, students lacking motivation, and time is difficult to get some students' attention, and other reasons going on. Thank you for sharing. We hope our webinar today will help you meet those challenges in the new year and refresh your classroom community. I'll never forget my first year of teaching. Does anyone? It was such an exhilarating yet humbling and challenging year. I'd like to introduce you to my students who came from such diverse backgrounds. They spoke different languages, represented so many cultures, had different temperaments and communication styles. I'm guessing they were very similar to the students you work with each day. Let me share a story with you about that first year of teaching with those very same students. In those days, there were very few teaching opportunities, yet I'd been successfully substituting for several teachers in the very same school. When I was offered a long-term sub job, I was thrilled. But there was just one more little thing that the principal let me know. This energetic and diverse class of first graders had gone through 7 different substitute teachers since September. After those 7 teachers, my students struggled as learners and how to get along with one another. It was hard to teach as I often had to stop and put out fires. The relationships between my students and with me were on quite shaky ground because they lacked trust, respect, and confidence. My principal at the time advised that perhaps I was just too new to be successful, but he'd give me a month to see if I could make a difference. There were so many things I had to put in place quickly. I had to understand the curriculum, pedagogy, and there were big-time needs for classroom management. But the most important thing I learned as a new teacher was the importance of creating a nurturing classroom learning community where students could build healthy relationships. In fact, I found that intentionally fostering those relationships were a major factor to building a positive learning community and surviving that first year of teaching. Many years have gone by, and my beliefs remain the same. Teaching and learning are a social experience. We can't separate curriculum from a social-emotional context. To successfully teach, we need to integrate social-emotional learning throughout our school day. For this to happen, our classroom communities must be a place in which students feel cared about and are encouraged to care about one another. This is high-stakes learning for our students. They will need social-emotional skills and strategies to be successful in school, work, and in lifelong relationships. Let's take a short pause and reflect on the important factors that need to be in place to build strong learning communities essential to social-emotional development and academic achievement. Consider what factors build a classroom community essential to social-emotional development and academic achievement. With Harmony, we work with educators across the country, and they tend to share three important leading factors that build strong classroom communities. Classrooms need to be welcoming places where students are connected and have empathy and accept one another. In strong communities, teachers and students share high expectations. There are a set of behavior norms for treating one another. Students are responsible and accountable for their behavior. In healthy learning communities, there is a great deal of trust. Students respect and learn to understand one another's perspectives, and there's a great deal of problem solving. As we begin 2017, we're all working to create a renewed sense of community, as well as recalibrating our intentions of how we want to treat one another. And I believe we all know that it's very important to build support, understanding, and compassion in our classrooms. By modeling our acceptance of each child's background, experiences, and viewpoints, as well as cultures, we create an environment that says, in our community, all are welcome and valued. As educators, we need to reinforce a supportive language and expectations of how we would like students to treat one another. Our goal is to include, respect, and celebrate all of the individuals who knit our classroom communities together. As you know, Sanford Harmony is designed to build healthy relationships and supportive learning communities. We are building classroom communities that says each child matters, together we matter, and our community matters. Just take a look at a few things we'll be covering in our webinar today. We're hoping to help you refresh your classroom community for the new year, overcome some of the challenges you may be encountering as you implement Harmony. We'll focus a great deal on meetup strategies, revisit the importance of meeting in a circle, and share social-emotional learning ideas to strengthen your classroom. We really look forward to hearing some of your ideas that will help our webinar audience set relationship resolutions for the new year. Let's return to some of those community building challenges that have been shared by our Harmony implementers. It's difficult to get my students' attention. Some students need additional support to be a part of Meetup. A few of my upper grade students are mocking Harmony strategies. And we also have noticed a few teachers have asked for more ways to energize Meetup. Let's take a moment and ask our participants, what strategies are you using to refresh and ignite your classroom community? Please type your answer in the question box.
All right, everybody, I'm going to go through some of your responses. These are awesome. So it looks like Kimberly, she uses natural brain breaks. That's awesome. We love to hear that kind of response. Barb likes to use a talking piece in circle time. We might be covering talking pieces during this webinar. Neris likes to use new songs, dramatized games, and student participation. That's awesome. David likes to review the classroom rules daily. Yeah, reviewing those goals of daily is really important. Kimberly also said she creates bulletin boards and student created bulletin boards. That's awesome. Getting your students involved as much as possible really makes this practice energizing and engaging. Lauren uses a star chart. That's awesome. Kimberly also uses student action teams and clubs during lunch recess. That's a great way to use other times of your day to incorporate harmony. So Tony says, we're trying to do a lot of movement and many reminders of each person's job while they're at school. That's great. Getting your kids moving is essential to our program. Getting them up out of the chairs, it makes it a lot of fun. And let's just share one more. Kelly says, reflecting with students on the first semester and setting goals for the new year. That is awesome. That's why we're holding this webinar in the month of January. We want you to reset and start this new year with a refreshing sense of Sanford Harmony in your classroom.
Okay, thanks again for your great answers. And this webinar will be recorded, so you'll have another opportunity to hear those answers. Let's refresh and invigorate our meetup. And several of you gave us great new ideas to do. So let's look at meetup and how it works. As you know, meetup, students meet in a circle for 5 to 20 minutes. They greet one another, share ideas, monitor those harmony goals, solve problems, and engage in community building activities. Meetup works to build our communities because students have many opportunities to speak up and share what's on their minds. Their voices are important. It improves communication, and it helps students identify how they're alike and to celebrate how they're different. I love the problem-solving part of a meetup. At this time of the year, it's a good reminder to reflect upon the importance of meeting in a circle. Sometimes we think it's just easier to hold meetup with the students sitting in rows or maybe at their desks. But let's go back to the value of meeting in a circle. Circles are a symbol of unity and cooperation. When we meet up, we want to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to participate and contribute. Meetup promotes equity and shared leadership as it places everyone in the circle in an equal structure where we all can learn from one another. In a circle, the focus is better because we can put our attention on the speaker where everyone can see. In that circle, no one is looking at anyone's back. It's easier to see, listen, and hear when the direct line of sight is on the speaker. I tend to be a little bit short, so I was always looking at the back of my fellow students' heads in a classroom. The circle would have really helped me focus as a learner. Circles link all of your students with one another, encouraging a sense of shared effort or common purpose. In a circle, there's certainly more accountability and that little bit of disrespectful behavior, such as a side conversation or demeaning signals, are discouraged. In a circle, everyone is included, and it's difficult to leave others out. Here's a great idea to refresh your meetup. As we've visited schools, we've discovered that some Harmony teachers are identifying theme days with their students. For meetup, choose a day, identify a theme, and students share their ideas during meetup or with their buddies. You can chart their ideas for projects in writing as well. Imagine what students could share during Make a Change Monday. They can share ways to make a positive change in your classroom, make a positive change for their school, or your community. I'm also thinking Friday would be a fun day to celebrate what students enjoy about working with one another and learning in your classroom community. Pinterest is another great source for these theme days for your meetup. You know those days when you just can't seem to get your students' attention? You don't want to repeat yourself and you don't want to raise your voice. Call and response signals are a fun and positive way to quickly catch your students' attention. Here's one of my favorites. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. So this teacher calls out the first part of the word, and the students immediately respond. A popular one currently is, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Upper grade students are great at coming up with these ideas. Have your students work with their buddies to create a list of call and responses they'd like to use. What call and response signals do you use or have you heard? We'd love to hear your ideas. Please type your answer in the question box, and then we'll try out a few.
All right, so let's share some of your responses. We have some really, really good ones. I'm excited here. I like this one from Stacy. Her and her students say, or she says, Red Robin, and her students reply, yum. That one's really cute. And then let's see, Danny, she likes to say, ba-da-da-da-da, and her students say, I'm loving it. That is awesome, Danny. Let's see some other ones. And Kimberly likes to say, we will, and the students say, rock you. That's so cute. Let's do it. Let's share a couple more. I think Kimberly also likes to use hip hip, and the students say, hooray! That's an easy one. That's a fun one. And it looks like Judith says they use their school color. So she says purple, and the students say gold. I'll show you one more since there's so many good ones popping up here. Oh, here's a nice one. So Tony, she uses a wind chime for some things and a timer so students know how much time is left for what they're doing. And then they do a chant and then they leave the room. Nice. And then last one, go Kimberly, you're sharing a lot. I love it. Chicka chicka, boom boom. Awesome. So just a reminder, we've included a whole list of some of those and a lot of other ones in your handouts today. If you, for some reason, can't find those handouts, get in contact with us and we'll make sure you get a copy. All right, and I'm going to hand the presentation back to Margaret.
Those were impressive responses, and they're certainly a lot of fun. I also noticed several of you added movement, which again is really good to get that whole body engaged. I did notice one that said row, row, and the kids are picking up your boat. And again, they can do the movements and everybody comes together. Much better than saying, are you listening? Alrighty, let's go on to another tip for your meetup. Actually, Barb shared this one. She's using a talking piece. A talking piece helps facilitate and share that speaking time. It can be anything that's easily passed from one student to another. Objects found in nature make great talking pieces. It can be a feather, driftwood, river stones, seashells, animal figurines, and of course, if you're in pre-K or kindergarten, you'll want to use Z as a talking piece. So whoever's holding the talking piece is the person sharing at that time. Easy to do, and your kids can come up with great ideas. I'm also going to put a plug in for Pinterest again. There are absolutely fantastic ideas on Pinterest for organizing talking pieces in your classroom. Another thing that's come up today is that need to reset harmony goals in your classroom. You're absolutely right. The new year is a great time to refocus and hit that reset button and reaffirm our community intentions for how to treat one another. You might also have new students in your classroom who've missed out on this part of community building. The lost instructional time for rebooting your Harmony goals will be made up throughout the rest of the year because you'll spend less time correcting student behavior. I was recently in a classroom where the teacher was helping students understand really what the words of Harmony goals meant. This teacher created a Y chart to help students find and understand what include everyone meant as a classroom goal. She created the Y chart to help students define what inclusion would look like: happy kids, getting along, and working and playing together. The students give the responses. Sounds like using kind words, asking others if they want to play. And what does including everyone feel like? I feel good when I'm kind. I'm important when I'm included. I belong to our classroom when I'm included. Try out this Y chart to help build understanding of new vocabulary. You'll be surprised with how well your kids can paint a picture of what the word means. We've all said that we want all of our students to engage and be part of our classroom communities. However, some students will deal themselves out of your meetup if we let them. By living the mantra that everyone matters, everyone has something to teach us, and including everyone's voices and discussions, we inspire them to show up every day and be present. We can help reinforce participation by the words and the tones that we as leaders and teachers use as we encourage students. Supportive language is really important for those students that are reluctant to share. Here are a few examples of supportive language you can use to encourage students to be more of a part of your community and to consider sharing and participating in Meetup. We know that it will take time and encouragement for some of our students. Here's ones that I like to use. That's so interesting. I didn't know that about you. That would be great to share during Meetup. Will you consider that? I might say to another student, just look what you've accomplished. You didn't give up. Do you want to share the good news with your buddy? We've actually provided a copy of these suggestions and more with our webinar. We hope you'll check them out. Now, you just might have a few students who are in perpetual motion and need support to help them focus. I know many of you assemble fidget toys as those physical supports for students who have active bodies that might interfere a bit with their ability to focus and participate in Meetup. In a classroom community, we make sure all students can use what they need. A few of our participants today shared that a challenge can be that they're having some students with limited language or might be second language learners who can't participate in Meetup. It's great to plan communication accommodations for students with speech and language challenges. You can front-load topics with them, provide visuals and props to help your students convey language. We want to provide time for them to develop and rehearse their ideas with their buddies or other classroom volunteers. Our friends in Clark County are doing a great deal with front-loading pictures to use for Meetup and Buddy Up, and they are amazed at their participation. Another easy tip is to encourage positive gestures and nonverbal signals for students to participate with. It can be as easy as thumbs up, thumbs down, the OK signal, and other facial expressions. It seems simple, but it makes a difference and it sets a positive tone in your classroom. Another challenge might be that student who thinks that Meetup or buddy up is a waste of their time. It's vital for us to model and have a firm mantra about the importance of our classroom learning community. It's important to say we're a learning community every single day, and we will have a positive climate where we can all learn and play together. Meetup will help us support one another and be a regular part of our classroom. We need to respectfully but firmly address it's little kid stuff, grumblings about our meetings. Remember that upper grade students really do want to be heard, but they can be anxious, shy, or uncertain about their responses. It's a time of wanting to fit in. We also need to remind ourselves that it takes time and patience to develop a supportive learning community where each student can thrive. I found it really works well to have older students select sharing topics and the quick connection cards. That means they have ownership in what your class is doing. Have students select those greetings, demonstrate greetings, sharing topics, and activities that work best for your classroom. This time of year, it's also very helpful to review problem-solving strategies. If you're finding students are struggling with disagreements, go to problem-solving strategies. Your grade-level Harmony Teacher's Manual has several lessons, activities, and role-playing experiences that will help students bolster those problem-solving strategies. The Harmony problem-solving strategies are located in Unit 4 for every grade level. This is actually a sample of the problem-solving strategies used in grade 4. There are a number of lessons and activities that lead students to understand these steps. Stop and calm down. Talk about each other's perspective. What a great word to explore as second graders. Think of possible solutions, try a solution, and see how it works. Again, the entire unit builds upon the problem-solving component and includes information for you to send home for parents on this problem-solving strategy. This next one actually comes from grades 5 and 6, problem-solving. We see the owl, the shark, and the turtle. We're noticing that the people in our lives have different approaches to solve the same conflict. The same is true for kids in our classroom. It's important to think about how we solve conflicts because one's attitude and reaction to conflicts can be either helpful or hurtful. We can think about solving conflicts in terms of these animal characters. Let's start with an owl. What are some characteristics of an owl? Students will share. They're studious. They're careful. They think. They're smart. They're a problem solver. How might an owl solve a conflict? Well, owls try to think about many different ways to solve a problem. They're thoughtful. They try to come up with a solution that addresses everyone's concern. Now, students might share that a shark is forceful, tries to win, is domineering, or scary. A turtle might try to solve problems by hiding from conflict, getting scared, or trying to avoid by hiding in its shell. This unit builds an understanding that there are different approaches to solving conflict. There's not always one best way to solve that conflict. For example, some people ignore conflict, hoping it will just go away or escape a dangerous situation. If a bully on your street is threatening to beat you up, what might be the best thing to do? You'd walk away. You'd ignore it. You just join the turtle. In other words, we want to give students different ways to be solution finders, conflict controllers, and conflict avoiders. All of these strategies matter in your classroom. Take a look at the unit. It's really impressive for upper grade students. We can never underestimate the value of establishing healthy and supportive relationships in our classrooms and building a nurturing and supportive community. When we invest in our children, everyone wins. Let's take a few moments for your questions and answers and any other Harmony ideas you might wish to share. Please type your answer in the question box.
All right, everybody, we're going to start addressing some of your Q&A, and I just want to remind you guys, don't leave. We will be still having that giveaway for that $25 Amazon gift card at the end, so please stay tuned. Margaret, why don't you address some of these?
Okay. Kimberly's reminding us that she started the new year and she reviewed expectations and purpose from the very beginning. Thanks, Kimberly. You're super right on that one. We're hoping that through sharing a few ideas and giving you new ways to clarify what words mean, that it was helpful for you. Also, what about that student that has extreme behavior problems, that might have physical problems biting or kicking others? I would really advise, of course we're going to continue using those strategies and encouraging and modeling with students. We actually had one of our Clark County preschool teachers sharing that Z became the best friend in that particular classroom, but also it sounds like you need the support of other school experts in working with a child who is acting out and voicing their needs through those actions. Let's see. Judith was wondering about sharing this webinar with teachers that have signed on with Harmony. If I understand that correctly, Judith, yes, you can do that, but you'll also find that our online training module that Rachel actually works with, if you connect with her after the webinar, we can share several online experiences, and this webinar will, of course, be recorded for their use. Thank you, Judy, for saying you enjoyed the webinar. We like hearing that. Tony shared how important it is to refocus on buddies, the partners, and what it means to be a good friend. Absolutely. Students need that reminder. Great, that makes sense. Carving out time each day is difficult. How much time are people allocating to do this? Kimberly, I think it depends on your grade level and how you're infusing your meetup and buddy up throughout the week. As we train and work with people, we find that some days they'll share that their meetup can be 5 minutes. Other days it's a longer meetup. You don't have to include every single part of meetup each day, although I know teachers are striving to do that. Now, the lessons are actually designed to do at least one a week at a time that works best for you. Let's see, you mentioned visuals for students with speech and language disabilities. Do you have any products with them made? Oh gosh, Lauren, I wish we had those, and it's something we talk about. Can I share that Pinterest has so many great ideas for speech and language pathologists. Again, Clark County, I know, has been developing them for use in the classroom, but as I looked on Pinterest last week, I found several reproductibles that were free. Cindy shared that she just joined and wasn't able to listen. Yes, you can listen to the webinar later. Rachel will take care of that.
Yeah, so if you are registered for today's webinar, you will receive a recording or a link to the recording later on. It won't be immediately after this webinar. Just hang tight. It should be sometime later this afternoon. Thank you, Cindy.
Neris. Oh, this is an excellent reminder or a thought. To really have simplified expectations, and she adds pictures for meetup in the classroom. I would do that as well, especially if my students needed that extra support or they were younger. I've even seen classrooms where teachers take pictures of students demonstrating those expectations. So they really belong to that. And what they look like, Neris again shared what it's like to be safe and be responsible. Kimberly's asking how to connect to Rachel to get information about online training modules. Yay!
So Kimberly, at the very last slide we're going to show today, we'll have my contact information listed as well as Margaret's. You can feel free to shoot me an email, and I have your email as well, and we can connect sometime this week.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Layla, I have to read this because I'm not kidding. It brings tears to my eyes. We are loving harmony here at our school. Each month, we as a school focus on the different themes. All of our bulletin boards are themed with Sanford Harmony and our school themes. Our school is embracing the program. Leela, please get a hold of us and send us pictures. We want to share them with everybody out there.
I love that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Oh, will do. Again, it's a great new year and a time to refocus on resolutions. It's hard to believe it's February. In fact, I think I heard Rachel try to say it was January still.
Oh my gosh, you're right. It's February now. Sorry.
We're moving forward. We're building community and a social emotional environment where students can thrive and achieve. I can't wait to hear more of what your resolutions are. We love seeing pictures of your classrooms. We love to go out to training, and we will share your name, your school as a Harmony champion. Thank you so much for participating. Now don't go away.
All right, everyone. So just a couple quick announcements. We are excited to announce that the Harmony app and the Spanish version will be coming out soon or this spring. So please check your emails for more information about these. And last but not least, the giveaway. All right, it's time to give away our $25 Amazon gift card. So we're going to randomly select one of the attendees for today's webinar. And congratulations. Margaret, who do we have? Elisa Perez. Elisa?
Woohoo, Lisa!
Can you raise your hand or type something into the question box? Let me know you heard your name. Oh, there you go, Elisa. All right, congratulations, you are our winner. So please look out for an email from us today that will contain your prize. Thank you everyone for attending our webinar today. This session was recorded and you will all have access to this recording sometime today. Again, please check your inboxes. We also have a very short survey that will launch once this webinar ends. Please take a minute to provide us your feedback. We appreciate it so much, guys. It will help us to create stronger and more effective webinars in the future. And again, there's my face, there's my name, and that's the way you can contact me, rescovedo@nu.edu. Margaret?
Thank you again, everyone. We're so excited to hear your Harmony stories. You are what makes it happen for our kids. Please send pictures. Please share your ideas. We'll look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.